Back Row Ministry, the world permit, Mr. Moxley coming back at you live and direct. So, Trump has started to put this cabinet together. We talk about with Matt Gaetz and Pete Hegseth with 1,000 strange looking tattoos. And of course, Tulsi Gabbard took the oath and drank the blood from the shrine and joined the Church of MAGA the other day. So, you know, she's down with the MAGites. But does this cabinet mean that Israel, or the state of Israel, is safe? Does it mean that? And I really don't think it is. Like I said, Israel is coming to the end. And how do we get to this place? As I said, the Israelis should not trust Trump at all. I think Trump's election is the worst thing that could happen to the state of Israel. And I'm going to say this because when the Democrats were supporting Israel, they got a lot of flack for it. And it's the reason that they got destroyed in the election. But let's just say now that the Republicans begin to back the Israelis and the Israelis continue the murder spree. How is it going to be sold by the media? And as you see, the media is starting to get off of a lot of trains. What I say is the LGBTQ community, some of those members are concerned, especially the T's, because they see that the media is starting to turn on them. So we knew that was coming. That, like I say, that, I hate to say it, it was a fad from the media that they're going to pretend that they're your friends and then they turn on you. That's just what they do. So they never were bought into that. They never did. It made them some money for a period. They got some votes for a period. And then when the fad was over, they turn on you. And you see what I mean by that with Jenner making her move by joining the Church of MAGA, which she probably always was a member. But she's going to insulate herself that, hey, I'm down with the MAGites. I'm not over there with them. And she made that very clear. So she already knows that they're about to turn on the T's. They're about to turn on the T's. They're starting to make jokes. Nobody's starting to get many backslash. Nobody really cares anymore. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse for the T's. And even in the LGBTQ community, everybody has a problem with the T's. So now, even in that community, they're going to start turning on them. And you're seeing that already. So we'll see the media start to make these transformations. And why that's bad for Israel is where the media was uncomfortable saying anything outside of support for the Israeli war, that's not going to happen anymore. So CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, as the killing continues, when we go into January, and with Trump as president and backing the Israeli state, watch how the CNNs of the world start turning on the Israelites. Watch them start turning on the Israeli state. Watch them start calling it a genocide again. Watch them start saying America needs to stop backing the genocide. And slowly but surely, you're going to see the Israeli state transform into the bad guys. And the world is going to start seeing them as the bad guys. And then the world is going to sanction their destruction. So watch how this game plays. Trump is the worst thing that happened to the Israeli state, because as long as everybody sees Trump bad, anybody associated with Trump is bad, making the entire Israeli state bad, and now it's acceptable. Remember how things aren't acceptable when the Democrats are doing it? When the Democrats are doing it, it has to be seen as a good thing. But when Trump does it, the same thing, supporting Israel, is going to be seen as a bad thing. It's going to be seen as evil. It's going to be seen as America sponsoring genocide. When the protesters hit the street again, which they will, and they start locking up protesters, that's going to make it even bad. The Palestinians are going to become martyrs. Watch how this thing flips. So this is the worst thing. Like I said before, Trump is not the Israelites' friend. It's the worst thing that happened to the Zionists, Trump getting in that office, because it marks the end of Israel. It's going to come very fast, very quick. You're going to see Trump already talking about he's going to go to war with Iran. So it's going to be a whole lot of moving parts in this. But at the end of the day, the Israelis need to be concerned that they have signed their own end. And it's a game that America plays all the time. Remember, at one point in this country, before the creation of Israel, America was down with the Germans. And then suddenly we see America turn on the Germans, and the Israeli state was created from that war, World War II. And the way people looked at Jews changed in that period also. Remember, Jews got it real bad in America at one point. So now we're going to see another transformation. And it's not going to be an attack on Jewish people. That's not going to happen. Judaism is still a very respected religion in America, and is a respected religion around the world. It's been a respected religion for centuries. So it's not an attack on Judaism. This is going to be an attack on the Israeli state. And the Republicans, how they're going to get themselves in trouble and allow the Democrats to reposition themselves to take the power back, is this anti-Semitic thing that they're already starting. So Trump has a bunch of Zionists on his staff that are trying to make the Israeli conflict a Zionist situation, anti-Semitism. And you see them already. Anytime. So what they're going to try to say with that anti-Semitic bill that's probably going to pass now, that you can't say anything about the state of Israel without being labeled an anti-Semite. Now, that's going to be the beginning of people beginning to turn on the Republican Party, because Judaism has nothing to do with the state of Israel. There's Jews in Israel. There's Christians in Israel. There's Muslims in Israel. This is a state situation. But they're going to try to turn it into, oh, well, you said this about Israel. You're an anti-Semite. No, we're talking about the war in Israel and the situation and the killing and murdering that needs to stop. So watch them. Anytime people say anything about the war, they're going to try to call them anti-Semitic. And their problem is when they call CNN, ABC News, CBS, when they start labeling them anti-Semitic for them talking about the wars, when the Republicans are going to start really taking a hit. So like I said, this is the worst thing to happen to Israel. Just because you see all those Zionists that are on this cabinet, they're not down with Israel. Anybody who is a MAGite and is under the church of MAGA, these people are down with the church of Satan. They have it signed on them, and you are and have created the synagogue of Satan at that point, because you let the MAGites come in, and they're definitely going to take over. Look at the ambassador, the girl you got as ambassador. She'll be in Jerusalem all the time. So not a good thing for the Israelites. Not a good thing for the Israelites. The other thing that we kind of hear is this, going back to what we were talking about, the prophecy of the first woman being selected and not elected. Everybody from Pastor Manning to media outlets are now talking more and more about Joe Biden stepping down and them crowning Kamala, which we said might take place. So we're still watching this story. We were at 65 days yesterday. We're at 64. We've been talking about the number 63. So let's pay attention to what happens on day 63 when she has 63. She can have 63 days in office, which will be Saturday. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with that part of the story. Still watching that piece. And how could that affect everything before we get to January? Because could she pull all the funds from Israel? Could she stop all the weapons from coming to Israel? Like I say, there's a lot of things that could take place prior to January that could basically change his outcome. But you see, they got Tulsi Gabbard on here as she's going to be the chief of, Secretary of Intelligence. I mean, it's just a comedy show. Some guy that grabs some National Guard guy, talking about even the Secretary of Defense. And why would they have a National Guard guy, Secretary of Defense? Is he defending us from stuff in the world? National Guard is defense here in America. So, of course, they know some things are going to be popping off in America. Of course, they know some things gonna be popping off in America, so they need defense for America. You got all these dumbass mayors talking about they're gonna protect migrants and all this stuff, and just stupid stuff. We know stuff is gonna go down in the 312 Chicago, and we've been seeing a lot with that ditto head mayor. They got involved himself in this stupidity. I guess he think he's gonna be more than what he is, protecting migrants, but the city's gonna turn on him, so he's pretty much finished. But we could see a war in Chicago, police versus the National Guard. We can see wars. New York's not going to be involved. Mayor Adams is stepping. He's not going to be involved in it. So if anything happens in New York, it's going to be Holcomb. But New York is going to be total support. Gavin Newsom is probably going to be 50-50. But I see Gavin Newsom supporting getting the migrants out. So I think the only city where there's going to be issues is Chicago. But Chicago's going to turn on that mayor. They're going to turn on him. And at the end of the day, there will be mass deportations. And let's talk about this mass deportation stuff. And here's the hypocrisy. A lot of y'all out here. And I'm not talking about y'all view, but a lot of folk out here. Do y'all know that the president who deported the most people was Barack Obama? Barack Obama, if you look at his record, I want y'all to look at deportation over Obama. Obama kicked a lot of motherfuckers out of America. He kicked them out by the pound. So when people now are going into this mass deportation, and like I said, it happens like this all the time. The minute Trump says it, bad. Barack Obama did it, good. Nobody said anything about it. So we first have to stop the hypocrisy of America. Holman worked for Obama. So Holman, the gentleman in charge of the new borders, he worked for Obama. So he ain't new to deportations. He's not new to the president saying, hey, go get ICE and get this. These dudes over here got to go. Hey, Barack Obama did the same thing. And when Barack Obama was there, the border was very secure. He had a lot of deals with Mexico going on about keeping that border secure. All of a sudden, Trump comes, oh, man, no, we can't do that. No, we can't. Dude, Barack Obama just did this. Nobody said anything to Barack Obama. So that becomes the reason why the Democrats always lose elections badly, because they have so much hypocrisy. Some of the biggest dope dealers have been them Democrats. Some of the biggest dope dealers. And it's always when the other party does it bad. Think about Vietnam. LBJ took America into Vietnam. He knew Vietnam was a lost cause. He knew they weren't going to beat them Vietnamese. But he took a whole bunch of young Americans into Vietnam, killed Martin Luther King for speaking up about it, because that's what it was, a sanctioned murder of Martin Luther King by his checkerboard brothers. And the minute that Nixon took office and Nixon promised to end the war or win the war, and the killings continued, they blamed everything on Nixon. They threw Nixon under the bus. The minute the Republicans got in, they threw him under the bus. Called him a genocidist. Didn't say anything about LBJ. LBJ got out of Dodge before the complaints were thrown at him. But they threw all that on Nixon, and Nixon didn't want to go up into Vietnam. LBJ went into Vietnam. JFK did not want to go into Vietnam. LBJ went into Vietnam. So that's the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. It's always been the party of hypocrites. The Republicans, we know what they're going to do. They say it, they do it. They've always been this way. They say it, they do it. They say it, they do it. But you see Trump's staff, bunch of young MAGAites, probably was on the shrine yesterday drinking a cup of blood. Look at Tulsi Gabbard. She looked like she had a full cup of blood, bowing down to the Shaitan. These are Shaitan worshipers. They have no interest in America. They really follow prophecy, and they think that their kingdom is here on earth. They sold their soul a long time ago. You can't help these folks. And anybody down with them, you pretty much have sealed your fate. But this is where the world had to go. We had to go down this path of prophecy. We had to go into the Third World War. We have to have a time of pain. Don't let your pain become suffering. We can survive. There's plenty of ways to survive. We just got to teach ourselves over this next 4 years. Go outside. Learn how to garden so you can grow your food. Learn how to hunt. I'm going to do some hunting classes this year. That's my goal for 2025. Get out there and learn how to hunt. So I'm going to join some of these hunting clubs, and I'm going to teach myself how to hunt. how to skin these deer, how to feed my family, because I'm not going to be caught up in no situation where my family can't survive and I can't eat. There's no reason for that. The creators gave us plenty to survive off of. So I'm going to do what I got to do to survive moving forward and to protect my family. But, you know, as we go through this period, it's going to be a lot of turbulence. We got a while before the war really ramps up, but there are going to be moves made before January. There's going to be a lot of moves made before January. You know, a lot of things have already passed to tell you that we're entering another period of chaos. Remember that real ID that nobody talks about? That is a part of that 2025 package is the real ID. The real ID is something they're pushing on everybody. They're going to take away states' powers. That's all the real ID is about. Where only the government ID is a real ID, and you got to get sanctioned. Basically, to be a citizen, you have to be sanctioned by the government. And the states just can't say that you're a citizen, and you're going to need that ID to vote. That's why they've been pushing the real ID. Either you got to have a passport, which you know are sanctioned by the government, or some form of ID that says that you are a government-sanctioned citizen. That's what the real ID is about. Meaning that the state ID really doesn't matter anymore. They don't care if the states say you're a citizen because they don't trust the states. And think about this. This ID kicks in right when the Republicans are in, and they'll blame the real ID on the Republicans. Not the real ID's already been in play. They've already been pushing it. This has been through a Democratic period that they've been pushing it. At any time, they could have stopped this real ID situation. Yet they voted on this real ID thing. So they've already been planning on giving the government more power. So one thing me and my friend talked about, when Republicans come in, the government gets more power. Republicans are all about big government. They're the biggest liars in the world. Like, oh, we don't like big government. Yet everything they do tends to push big government, big government, big government, big government. They'll pass all these bills. And the biggest government bill is the government saying to states, we really don't care about y'all. You can't sanction a citizen, and only we can sanction a citizen. That's what the real ID is. And by May or April, everybody got to have that real ID, because you can't get on a plane, which is controlled by the FAA, the Federal Flight Administration. You can't, no, they're in control. So this process had already been started. They knew that they were coming into a time of the Republicans again. They knew they were going to come in a time of upheaval and unrest with this deportation piece. Most of the migrants are already getting out of Dodge, but mass deportation, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing new. Barack Obama deported more people than anybody, and it wasn't labeled bad. But the minute the Republicans get in, it's bad. So that's the hypocrisy of America. That's the hypocrisy right there. We say what's bad. When we do it, good. When y'all do it, bad. No. It is what it is. If you feel that's what needs to be done, then do it. At the end of the day. But everybody does the same thing. There's no party doing anything different. They're all birds of the same feather. They're all birds of the same feather. They're going to be watching what you're saying with Tulsi Gabbard as the Secretary of Intelligence. They're ready for civil unrest with the Secretary of Defense being in the National Guard. Who ever heard of that shit? Because you know they're ready for stuff on the streets. So we already know where this is going. Pete Hegseth, a guy who worked on Fox News that was in the National Guard, Secretary of Defense. Joke. Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence. Joke. Mike Gatz, Attorney General. He going after Letitia James. Letitia James need to get ready with a dumbass. She already marked herself when she got on TV talking shit. Now she's shaking like booty meat out there in New York, thinking Holker going to protect her. Holker ain't protecting you. Holker can't even protect herself. She trying to go after Mayor Davis, who's going after her job. She got two years left, and her job will be finished. Mayor Davis will move into that and become the governor of New York. They're already They're already showing you the signs that he's going to be the governor of New York, and he's probably going to turn New York into a republic. And he'll be a Republican governor of New York. Remember, that's Donald Trump, brother. These checkerboard boys, they stick together. These are long-term knowing checkerboard boys. So we see these moves, these early moves. Israel, don't be cushy thinking it's all good, because this is not good. Like I say, the Secretary of Defense is a National Guard guy. He don't give a fuck about what's going on in the world. He gonna be focused on what's going on over here. So you gotta watch the play. You have to watch the play. Don't be jumping up and down thinking that the Church of MAGA is on your side. The Church of MAGA is on the side of the Shaitan. That's who the Church of MAGA serves. He don't serve Israel. He serves the Church of Shaitan. Them Zionists over there don't give a damn about Israel. The rumor is they're trying to build another canal. That's why they blew Gaza to hell and not letting people back in there, because they just want to open it up to build another canal. Watch them start digging it up soon. Somebody's got to control it on it, and that's where America comes in the church. You think they'll let a bunch of Israelis control that? Oh, hell no. And that's what these APAC guys really believe, that shit. They really believe, oh man, and we got this power, not knowing that the church is just overlooking the whole situation. And when they're ready to pounce, they'll pounce. Who controls the Church of Satan? The church itself. The church itself. Okay? Mr. Moxley Back Row Ministry, keep your head on a swivel and watch the play.